Hello, Fairfield. How are you? You are watching Fairfield 2.0. I'm Mike Ragogna, and we have Nate Logsdon with us today. Hiya, Nate.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
You are so very welcome. I'm going to be asking him about all sorts of things, especially musical, and he's in a couple of groups. One is called Mumfords, and another one is Little Ruckus. I think you're also doing something with Adrian Daller. So there's just too much to talk about. Let's just dive in. What? How are you doing today? Really.
really well. Yeah, I've been having a phenomenal week. Tons of music everywhere I go, and I've been having a really good, productive day, and a just great time since I've been here in Fairfield.
Now, what's great is that you're in Fairfield right now doing a residency, a musical residency over at the Beauty Shop.
That's
/
right.
St. Mary's. Can you go into, we've had people go into this a little bit before, but can you go into the mechanics, how that works?
Absolutely. So the Beauty Shop Music Residencies program is a program they started 6 months ago, where each month they have hosted different artists from around the country to come spend a month in Fairfield. From there, the artists really have a lot of freedom in terms of what they do.
Yeah.
Many of the artists have taught community workshops, and many of them have played live concerts. A number of the artists have worked on new music, and that's basically the focus of the program, is to provide a space, time, and resources for artists to work on new material.
Nice.
And so Taylor Ross of the Beauty Shop Music Residencies program is a friend of mine.
Who we have to have on the show yet. I've been trying to schedule this, hasn't quite worked out, but yeah.
She's great. Yeah, she would do it. She would be great on the show. So she just sent me an email and invited me to be a part of the program. And I really jumped at it. It lined up with my own interests because I really love Fairfield. I had expressed to friends that I felt really compelled to live in Fairfield at some point. And that's saying a lot for me because I really love my hometown and I would never move away from it.
Your hometown being Ames.
Of Ames, Iowa, yep. So not far away, just 2 hours north of here. And but while I'm so attached to my hometown of Ames and would never move away from there, at the same time I've felt really compelled to live in Fairfield. So this provided me the opportunity to really do both, and I've just been having a great month living here. I love this community.
It's a really wonderful community, and
It
the
is.
other, it's a musical community. I think almost more than any other place I've seen in a while. The amazing thing, and I keep saying this over and over, is it's well, you could throw a stone and the stone would hit an artist or a musician in this town. Everybody is doing something artistic, but there's something else going on here in that. For instance, you're attracted to Fairfield, but you're attracted to Fairfield also because of your relationships with, let's say, you're in Mumfords, you're in Little Ruckus with Dominic Rabelais. Also, you're making music or you're working on projects with Adrian Daller. So you're connected. Your affinity is you have an affinity with Fairfield that's more than just casual. Can you go into that? Like, this is a little bit of a love affair with Fairfield in a way, isn't it? Like, how did you get entrenched in? How'd you get here?
Well, yeah, my attraction to Fairfield is because of the great people here. That's really what it is that I have so much respect and love for the artists in this community. They are really committed to Fairfield in the same way that I'm really committed to Ames, and I love that. But in addition to that, there are a large percentage of the most talented musicians in Iowa live in this town. It's a small town, but that's really true. I started coming to Fairfield in 2009. Mumfords played a show at the Beauty Shop. That's where I met Philip and Dominic Rabelais, two really cutting-edge artists who live in the community here. And meeting them really changed my life. On that first night in town, too, I met a lot of other friends who have continued to be good friends, like Nathaniel Alexander is another artist in town who his band played that night. My friend Nate Hedrick was in one of the bands that played that night as well. And some of my other Fairfield friends were in that band that he was in. And after coming to Fairfield the first time, I started bringing Fairfield bands to Ames. So I run a venue in Ames, Iowa that's similar to the Beauty Shop. It's called the Space for Ames. And so we started hosting Fairfield bands in Ames. Fairfield bands started hosting Ames bands in Fairfield. And we built up this really dynamic collaboration. In 2010, Mumfords had we went on our first national tour with Utopia Park, which is a band from Fairfield, which is Philip and Dominic. And we have gone on 4 more tours together since then, and we've kind of become really, really, really close friends, really close collaborators.
Yeah.
And my collaborations with artists in this city continue to deepen, and I really wanted to build the connections that I already have and to expand the connections that I already have, because I knew that although I've worked with and played shows with and partnered with many of the musicians and artists in the community, that there were so many more that I just haven't even met.
Yeah.
And so being able to be here for a month is a chance for me to kind of plant the seeds, introduce myself to more artists, and also see more musicians play, see what different sides of the community that I haven't seen before. But it's not just a month-long thing. I mean, the program is a month, but I live in Ames. I come to Fairfield all the time.
Right.
And this is just planting the seeds for a lifetime of collaborating with Fairfield artists. So
All right, so let's back up here from the lifetime, because I feel like this is wonderfully intended. Like, you have this very, it's almost altruistic, the way you're approaching, the way you're approaching artists in Ames, and the way you're relating to the Fairfield artists, and the way that the Fairfield artists are relating to each other. I've said many times how it's amazing how the Fairfield artists all, I basically, and I keep saying this too, it's because they all grew up together. They knew each other in diapers. So at this point, they're very, they're so close that they play video games together. They hang out together watching movies. They are a community that really is itself in itself. This is a special energy. I mean, and I'm not sure, only because I haven't been in Ames, I haven't seen your space, but there's something I'm imagining special about that group of people too in Ames. Do you see that not just this could be the beginning to somebody like me? I've worked in the music business forever, almost on every angle, and for me, I look at this and I go, there's something really magical about this, where this can proliferate, where this is something that it's not only the paradigm or a role model for other cities to get together and have this sort of thing too amongst themselves. The youth, the young musical artists of each town, kind of like collaborating and starting its own expansive community, and in some cases maybe even a virtual community. But it seems like what you could do with the seeds of AIM and Fairfield throughout Iowa is to just keep expanding, so that this is like, it's the beginning of the radar screen, where it just keeps coming out, spreading out. Is that how you're seeing maybe something like this, the potential of something musically in Fairfield, in Iowa, where Iowa can end up being like a real focus for great music? And the national scene just hasn't caught on yet because they're entrenched in their own traditional areas, whether it be Detroit or whether it be Chicago, New York, Nashville, and L.A.
Definitely. And it's not just Ames and Fairfield, but Ames and Fairfield are definitely sister cities in terms of, or I should say sister scenes.
Yeah,
the scene in, the music scene in Ames is, like you suggested it probably would be, is very similar to the one in Fairfield, where it's a scene where it's easy for people who are new to playing music to get into it. It has a very friendly, collaborative, family sort of vibe to it. And it's very creative. There's tons of new collaborations happening all the time. And bands meet each other, play shows together. Next thing you know, now there's new bands made of these people who were just friends that are, now they recognize these affinities in their music, and they start new projects. It's very, very active time in the scene in Ames right now. So many bands making albums. There's a number of really excellent recording studios that have rates that are low enough that bands that are starting up and making their first music can get in the door and put out professional music. There's a wide variety of venues, ranging from all ages venues to clubs and bars. The campus has a really good venue that is open to local bands. That's a very professional club. And then there's also a lot of house shows that go on. That's a really important thing in Ames, and has been for generations, is house concerts are a really important part of the community in Ames. So the Ames scene and the Fairfield scene do feel a lot alike, and I think that the reason that I have felt so much of a kinship with Fairfield is that I really feel at home here. It really reminds me of my actual home in Ames. And I know that Fairfield bands that play in Ames a lot feel the same way. The reception that Utopia Park and Trouble Lights got the other night. Those are two bands from Fairfield.
Right.
Got the other night at this very official show in Ames that was on the street. You know, it was put on by the Campus Town Action Association and Business Association in Ames. You know, the money was put up by the Ames Chamber of Commerce. It's a very official kind of thing. And you have these Fairfield bands coming to Ames. Tons of people in Ames love them and came out to see them. And they just put on a phenomenal show, a dance party on the street with these bands from Ames, bands from Fairfield playing together and being part of one scene. Okay, so there's these great things going on in Fairfield and Ames. Now, to the second part of your question with, you know, is there a potential for this to spread out all the way around Iowa? The answer to that question is that has happened, that is happening. I strongly urge people from Fairfield who love Fairfield to experience more towns outside of Fairfield.
Yes.
Because there really are, you know, you love what's going on in Fairfield. I can see why. What's going on in Fairfield is happening in many communities in Iowa. Ames and Fairfield are special places, but there are many other communities that have their own scenes that are also very dynamic and that are growing a lot. And so I think that this process of the Iowa music scene becoming more and more established and becoming more and more creative, more and more collaborative, that's happening in communities all around the state. And I've heard, you know, what you voiced, so many people have been saying. And I think a lot of the artists and a lot of the people who love music in Iowa recognize that we're in a really special time and that we can grow it.
And also, yeah, exactly. It's a very special time, and it can be grown. And I think Iowa is unique in that it can be grown because there's so much land between all of the. Here's my theory. There's so much land between each of the cities, communities, so that you know you have these little beds of musicians that are. Well, quite frankly, you know, that's what they do all day. That's their thing. That's what they live for. That's all that that's all they want to do. And the community and, you know, their the economies can support that kind of thing. You can live not inexpensively. I don't want to say that, but you can live affordably in Iowa. Okay, so my feeling is that with all of these hotbeds of musical, you know, the cradles of music for Iowa that are happening. My feeling is that there is a way that those communities, especially the way that with a paradigm like how Ames and Fairfield seem to be, you know, getting turned on to each other's music, I feel like that can be done on in a bigger sense, more easily in Iowa than almost any other state. You look at Illinois, can't really do it in Illinois. There are too many urban areas and stuff. We have what? We have Des Moines and we have Iowa City, and you know. We don't really have very, very big, and our urban communities aren't really very big either. So there is a sense of like, Nebraska could probably pull this off, and they did. I mean, they did try for a while. You've got, you know, a lot of the artists that came out of there. They're like all centralized. They've got their own little label thing going on. But my feeling is that Iowa could pull this off as a united sort of like, this is Iowa music, representing, almost carrying the flag for the Midwest. I almost can't think of any other place, any other state that could pull it off as well as we could, because this and also the state, everybody's really, they like each other. Yeah, you know, the relationships also, they come first in a lot of ways, and then from there comes the creativity because everybody's trusting each other.
You went right to the heart of it right there, Mike. I mean, that's exactly what it is that the reason that Iowa is capable of it. There are economic factors, there are spatial factors, but the real reason that we're capable of this is because of the attitude in the music community, the attitude of the people that are involved in it, is that we do respect each other. We don't have a competitive vibe with each other. Exactly. We do respect each other. We do communicate well with one another, and that goes to the roots of Iowa culture. That goes to Iowan values that are being expressed in the scene, as they are in, you know, you can see aspects of that in the business community. You can see aspects of that in other parts of the arts community.
There's like an ethics that's almost in there. It's not unspoken, but it's like just a common sense ethics.
Yeah, it just comes from our, you know, there's a cultural history in Iowa that is being played out in the music scene as well. And the values that I see everywhere I go in Iowa, and you know, they really, you know, you can see it really clearly in Ames and Fairfield, and people from outside of the state say that about our communities. But in all different parts of Iowa, you can see these values of just mutual respect, you know, ability to just look each other in the eye and communicate, a willingness to collaborate, and a hesitancy to compete. There's not a competitive atmosphere. And a lot of music scenes that are very well known are very cutthroat as well, and they're big, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
Now, Iowa's,
although I doubt, no, complete your thought. I want to come back to that.
well, there is a. I'll be interested in hearing what your thought is. I think that there's a scale thing here as well, because Iowa is big in one way, but if you compare it to the number of bands in New York City or even Minneapolis, it just pales numerically. But what we gain is community, and what we gain is that lack of a cutthroat competitive atmosphere. Yeah. And what we gain is collaboration, and we gain the ability to get traction. If you have a really talented band, there are a lot of bands in Iowa, but a really, really talented band is not competing against 1,000 other talented bands. Yeah. They are collaborating with a handful of other really talented bands, and so it's easy to get traction. There's not the market isn't oversaturated, to put it in a different way.
But I would also put out there, where I was going to go with this earlier, was when you were mentioning about the larger cities and then having the cutthroat attitude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see that as an example in New York City. You have to be competitive. I mean, it's almost like for survival, you have to be competitive. But there are certain aspects, identity aspects to each of the states that lends itself to that. I mean, it isn't so much. My feeling is it isn't like if we had major sprawling cities. If we had more than just Des Moines and Iowa City, and if we had more than that, I still feel like the vibe of Iowa would not. It wouldn't be New York. It wouldn't be Detroit. It wouldn't be Chicago. It's not going to be these environments. Even Nashville. It's funny. It's like everybody's like, oh, everything's so homey in Nashville. Nashville's so wonderful. Nashville, you hold on to your pants. I mean, just be careful. It's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place as far as music, but the competitive spirit there, I've never seen. Mm-hmm. That's a place I've never seen a competitive spirit more or beyond that. Maybe L.A., but no, not even that. And there are a lot of people. Once you've been successful in Nashville, once you've made it, then everybody's relaxed. They don't feel like, they don't feel like they need to, they don't feel like they need to be hitting it hard all the time. Yeah. And the collaborations happen, and then for business reasons, you're collaborating, you're thrown together. What I really want, I think I'm trying to say is that we're looking at the infancy of something that's really has the potential to be something amazing, and that is, I think Iowa can be a flagship for how you can really do it without being exactly what you said, which was like not cutthroat, not suffer all of the problems that happen out of being an impersonal community, and. I mean, for instance, let's actually go to some of this stuff because I love it. You're in Mumfords.
Yes, sir.
Mumfords being a band that when I saw, it's like a collaborative band. There's something. It's a party band. It's a fun band. But the lyrics are right on. You're the lead singer. You're the leader of the band, and the main writer. I'm imagining, right? Is there a lot of
I write the lyrics, but all the members of the band kind of write their own parts. We write the music together.
Got it. Okay. So first of all, what is the origin of Mumfords?
Mumford started in 2008. That was I was taught to play guitar by a friend of mine who is also in Mumford's, and started writing my own songs. At the time, I had been jamming with friends, just getting together and learning how to play music from playing music with other people. I had played in band in high school, and I played piano as a kid, but I was learning how to play music with people, playing guitar with people, sing with people, and I started writing some songs. And so it really started in a community collaborative way because I had been writing my own songs on my own, but then I had this group of friends that I had just been jamming with. And so when I started to get show offers, I just asked those friends who I was jamming with, should we start a band? You want to practice? Let's be a band, And we started playing shows and growing our band, and we developed a really strong sound, and we developed a style that we have continued to play out, and so it started in 2008. It's named after a jazz drummer named Don Mumford, who has a really fascinating history. Actually, he was a professional jazz drummer. He played in Sun Ra's band. Wow. And he toured Africa with Sun Ra. He played at Carnegie Hall. He has played with many other famous jazz musicians too. Like you can even see him playing drums in a documentary about Dollar Brand. So I mean, he's played with some of the greatest jazz artists of all time. later in life, he made it to Ames. Yeah, he ended up in Ames because his girlfriend, he moved there with his girlfriend. And he was kind of putting his life back together, introducing himself to a lot of artists. And he introduced himself to me, just saw me walking down the street, introduced himself to me. We kind of became friends. We jammed together. He ended up dying in an accident very shortly after I met him. But in the time that he was living in Ames before he died, he managed to bring together a group of people that became the Ames music scene. Wow. You would be in Ames. This it's like a thing that if you were from Ames, you would know about this. It's just like you would be amazed at how many musicians are just like, I played with Don. I met Don. Don and I listened to music together one night, or I remember seeing Don play on the street, things like that. Or Don taught me to play drums. He also taught drum lessons, things like that. And so it's kind of a thing in the scene. So for us to be named Mumfords is also saying we are Ames. We are Ames music. We are a new generation of people that want to play together and want to be part of something together. And so we very much feel that we are possessed by Don Mumford and that he is guiding us in an informal way. You know, we don't do seances or anything, but just for an example, when we were on tour,
might be interesting though. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed. Maybe the next time I come on your show,
we can do a seance.
Yeah.
Done.
But an interesting example of that was that one time when we were on tour with Little Ruckus, who is from Fairfield, we played a show in Lawrence, Kansas.
And you're in Little Ruckus. You're also one of the.
I also dance and do backup singing in Little Ruckus as well.
Right.
But Mumfords and Little Ruckus were on tour together, and Dominic from Little Ruckus, who's from Fairfield,
Dominic Ragogna,
he booked a show on the tour in Lawrence, Kansas. Now, so Mumfords didn't even book that show. Little Ruckus booked that show, and so we show up at the venue, and the guy working at the bar was like, hey, you guys. Mumford, is that for Don Mumford? And we were like, yeah, it is. We knew that he's from Lawrence, Kansas. So, we weren't totally shocked.
Right.
We were like, yeah, it is. That's so cool. Did you know him? And they were like, and the guy at the bar was like, this was his bar. He like points behind the bar. They have his obituary framed on the wall behind the bar. And he was like, he used to do a weekly Sunday night jazz jam in this bar. We were playing there on a Sunday night, and we go downstairs, and we have our drum kit set up in exactly the place where his drum kit was set up, where he did his weekly jazz jam Sunday nights in Lawrence, Kansas for years. And so here we are, it's just like we were guided to this place by the spirit of music. We are driven to play music by this urge and this drive that we're barely in control of. And that's what our band is about. And we're very inspired by Fairfield bands as well. I mean, we've toured with Little Ruckus and Utopia Park a lot, and they really bring out the best in us because you've seen them play. Many of your viewers have probably seen them play. Yeah. They are a band that leaves nothing behind at every show. They give their entire bodies, their entire hearts, their entire voices to every performance. And so playing with them has really brought that out in us. It's like, well, if we don't go all out, then they're going to know because, they've seen us play before and they can tell if we don't, And so, they play and we're just like, wow, they threw down. So it's like, now we got to throw down. And the other way too, we bring out the best in them.
Yeah.
And so we have this really collaborative vibe with Mumfords and Utopia Park and Little Ruckus and Trouble Lights and anything that those guys are involved in.
And now Surgery has kind of jumped in there too.
Yep.
This has been that's my focus as far as Fairfield music right now, as far as the young music scene. Mm-hmm. That you named every act and your act is almost like an honorary Fairfield act.
And those bands are honorary Ames.
Yeah, this is beautiful, and I'm learning more and more. And I think the more I go to see you guys, as a collective outside of Fairfield, the more I get a grip on, the more I get a handle of really what's going on creatively with all of you, and also what the potential of this is. Mm-hmm. I get very excited every time I do a road trip. And one of the things I wanted to throw out there also is, as Mumfords, you guys really aren't, you're not beating down the doors in order to have a national record deal or something like that. You're developing music as a lifestyle versus trying to be in the music business the way that it's competitive right now, thus leading to the whole, that's why there's no cutthroat competitive thing going on. So that's sort of where I was going earlier too, in that I feel like that's a new paradigm. That's a new kind of thing that if many communities, if many communities across the country would do that, that would be great. But it might be something flagship-ish that Iowa would be able to teach the rest of the country about.
Yep.
And maybe that sounds a little far-fetched, but there's hope. I mean, I really feel like there's a potential here that is that I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. It's a real spirit of what's going on. You brought some merch here. We gotta look at this. What have you got here?
Let's see. This is our.
Can I start with the T-shirt?
Yeah, that's the new Mumford's Kiss the Ring T-shirt. It's a companion T-shirt to our 7-inch single "Kiss the Ring," which is one of our favorite songs to play. A song about how awesome it is to be the Pope, because you get to tell everybody if they're going to hell. And we did the split with another band from Iowa called the Wheelers. They're from Cedar Rapids. They're really good friends of ours. Actually, some of them are from Cedar Rapids and some of them are from Ames. And they're just like a really crunchy, like 90s Nirvana-esque rock band, but they're psychedelic.
It's flannel.
Yeah,
psychedelic flannel.
Psychedelic flannel, yeah. Really heavy psychedelic stuff, and we love them. So we did the split with them.
The Wheelers. I forgot about the Wheelers. That's right.
They're really good.
Yeah. And the Wheelers are also. That's another, Cedar Rapids was another place I wanted to throw out there earlier. Another major hub of I'm sorry.
Cool. Great river town. And so this is our first album. This is from 2010. It's called Eyes. So the first tour that we did with Utopia Park was right after we released this. This was our first album. We sold out of them. We just reprinted these yesterday. So we just got these brand new. And then this is our second full-length album. It's called Triple Trinities. And actually, another cool thing about Triple Trinities is that it's our first 12-inch LP.
Vinyl experience.
And we released it on our own record label, which is called Maximum Ames Records, which we have released a number of Iowa albums on vinyl. It's an all Iowa, all vinyl label. So we don't do CDs. It's all vinyl and digital. This was the first LP released on this. And since then, we've released vinyl from the Poison Control Center, Leslie and the Lies, Derek Lambert and the Prairie Fires, and Christopher the Conquered. And we have upcoming vinyl coming from a lot more bands too.
Christopher the Conquered, of course, having played Fairfield recently.
Yeah.
You've got, now Dominic has spoken about, having a label and sort of like, the concept of a label has changed so much, it doesn't really matter anymore. The concept of a label now has sort of become instead of label, I would say music entity. You wouldn't even call it a production house. You wouldn't even call it a whatever. Now, I see that happening with Dominic as far as wanting to do this. But, of course, everybody here is kind of so busy. They're so busy creating that there's no time for the mechanics of how to put something like that together. And I've actually thrown my hat out there and I've said, if you guys want to use any kind of knowledge that I might have that I could throw your way, just come and ask, because I know this is about you guys. You guys have to do your own thing. This isn't about Gramps coming in and and doing anything. But I really feel like this inspires me, and I have a lot of energy towards and enthusiasm and love for what's going on in the young Iowa music scene. But you are doing the same. You have an entity where you've been. It isn't so much signing acts, it's a matter of just pressing up and putting out product, isn't it?
That's correct. We do not own the material of the music that we release. So maybe like you were saying how label maybe is a little misleading because it's kind of like in a way it's kind of an old-fashioned word in the industry.
It's too antiquated now, yeah.
Maybe a better word is like collective.
Collective, yeah.
So like when we started the label, the idea of it, so I started it with Chris Ford of Christopher the Conquered, and he is the CEO of Maximum Ames Records. He owns that company, we started it together with the idea that we loved our friends' music so much. We felt that the music that we were making and the music that our friends were making was so good. We loved it so much that we were just like, we as music fans want to possess this on vinyl because vinyl is our preferred medium of listening to music. And so Chris and I started getting together and talking about, okay, well, how do we support one another to put out vinyl? And so we started having these conversations. We started having weekly meetings. Okay, if we support you, then you'll support us. And we realized, well, what we're talking about is kind of like a label. And so we started a label. We released this album. And since then, we've released a bunch more vinyl as well. And the label is kind of a go-between, just between bands that want to release vinyl and B, can sell it. It's expensive to press vinyl. but so have a market to be able to sell their vinyl. Bands that want that and the means of pressing music to vinyl, which is just a more expensive process where there's just like a few places that do it. Right. The mastering is different, and just like the physical manufacture of the items, and then the label also promotes those albums. So it basically
the label promotes the albums. How does your machine work with that?
Great question. We do have a press and publicity team. We have an intern, which is awesome. We have an intern from the journalism department at Iowa State. And having an intern has been amazing.
You want to give the shout out to the intern?
Intern, yeah. Vince, the intern, stay at work. You stay on that computer. But before we even had an intern, there was a member of our team, Dylan Boyle, who's actually good friends with all the Fairfield people and has toured with Mumfords and Utopia Park as well. Dylan Boyle was, he started our whole press and PR program, which he was doing a really good job at. Now we have an intern that helps him, and it's just taking it way to the next level. And so, yeah, we do press, we do PR, we do promotional things. We serve as a liaison for bands that want it between the vinyl pressing plant and the music and the band.
How does any of this get funded?
We have like a metric of just like the amount of money that each band puts in towards their own release
project, right,
is tied to the percentage of each sale that they get back. So if the band paid for the entire project, let's say the project cost was $1,200 and the band put in $1,200, and all the label did was communicate with the pressing plant and promote it, well, then the label's cut of each sale would be very small. But if the label put in the majority of the money, let's say the project cost was $1,200 and the label put in $1,000,
right,
well, until that investment got paid off,
recouped,
the percentage of each sale would be much higher. But there's the percentage of each sale that goes back to the label, would be higher.
So it's you're recouping the same way that a label would recoup.
Yeah, and the label is making money. There is a market for this in Iowa. This is a viable business, and in fact, we are growing a lot. And the projects that we have coming up in the near future are on a completely different scale, on a way bigger scale.
What's coming up?
Well, okay, the big thing that we have coming up right now, we just started pre-sale for this last week, and it's just been huge, is there's this band from Iowa that recently relocated to Sweden. They're called Blues Pills. Are you familiar with the band Radio Moscow?
Uh-huh.
So you may have seen the dramatic video where Radio Moscow had this onstage fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rhythm section of Radio Moscow was in the process of forming their own band called Blues Pills. They have this amazing Swedish female blues singer whose name is Aylin, who is a world-class blues vocalist. I mean, it is unreal. Like, and they, the Corey and Zach are known all over the world too. That's the rhythm section, okay, the old rhythm section of Radio Moscow. They're known all over the world too because Radio Moscow is pretty well known in the United States, but they are huge in Europe. Okay. The style of like heavy psychedelic blues rock that they play is very popular in Europe. So anyway, Blues Pills, before they even released anything, had gotten a ton of press and buzz. They approached us about doing this 7-inch that they were going to put out, and we jumped at it, and it has been a very, very popular item all over the world. And we've even had distributors express interest in purchasing items from us in bulk, which is a new thing from us. We're usually having people sell them at shows, or we put on a big release, or we get them into stores around the Midwest. This is an international release, and so that's really big. The new Mumfords album is going to be released in October, and it is by far the best album we have ever made, and I'm really excited about that. We're doing a big 7-week national tour with that, both coasts, touring with a band from Japan, because Utopia Park for the first time is not available. And also at the same time that we're releasing the new Mumfords album in October, this other, in Des Moines, very, very well known and very well respected musician named H.D. Harmson is releasing this new album that is just this fascinating project that he did that encompasses a huge range of styles, and every style is so spot on. And Chris Ford of Christopher the Conquered produced the record, and it is impeccable. I mean, if you like music, you will be into this album. And so we're releasing those together. We're doing a co-promotional package with Mumford's and H.D. Harmson, you know, and that's coming out just shortly after that Blues Pills. And then, you know, I'll tell the people of Fairfield right here on your television station right now, we are also releasing 12-inch vinyl of the new Trouble Lights record.
Oh, is that right?
That is right.
12-inch vinyl of the new album or the new single?
The new album.
Oh,
so Trouble Lights is making an album right now that's going to come out this fall.
Okay.
And they're just as you know, they are an unbelievable band from Fairfield. I mean, there is no band in Iowa that approaches like no band in pop music in Iowa that approaches their level of sonic professionalism combined with their performance ability.
Yep, they're very good.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm very biased, but
yeah, there's a connection here, I believe, with a certain Adrian.
But anyone who's seen this band would agree. I mean, and that's why they've gotten so much buzz and so much attention from outlets all over the country, and a lot of attention in Iowa because they bring a level of professionalism to pop music that is unprecedented in Iowa. And the new album that they're making right now, the sneak peeks of it that I've heard, are excellent. Mm-hmm. And so we are really excited to work with Trouble Lights and have a very successful vinyl release of their record.
Nice. Excellent. I wish you all the luck with that. I wish you all the luck with the label, Mike, in addition to Mumford's.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Oh, absolutely. You have to come back and give a progress report at some point real soon.
Anytime I'm invited.
And in fact, let's do that right now. Let's invite you to play a few songs.
All right.
Let's do this. We'll do a fade in and a fade out, and let you have your own segment, so you could use it however you like in the future.
Cool.
But again, I appreciate your being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. Yeah, it's an honor to be on the program, and it's an honor just to be here in Fairfield. And I just want to say how much respect I have for the community and how much love I have for the culture of this town. And I plan on coming here and being a part of it for the rest of my life.
Well, you heard it here. All right, Fairfield. This was Fairfield 2.0. This was Nate Logsdon. We maybe should have said that over and over again through the show, but hopefully everybody, I'm sure nobody tuned out because it was so fascinating. But join us again next time, and who knows who'll be on. And maybe it'll be even you. So take care of yourself, Fairfield, and see you soon. But don't go away because Nate is going to be playing in moments.
Well, thanks, Mike, for having me on your show here, and thanks to the great staff here. It's just been a great experience being here on Fairfield Public Access TV, Fairfield 2.0. Tune in every week. Love this show, love this town. It's great to be here. I'm Nate Logsdon from Ames, Iowa, living in Fairfield this month as a part of the Beauty Shop Music Residencies program. I've been having a great time being here, and thank you so much to the great community of Fairfield for being so welcoming and so open to new people coming here and being such a great place for people to come and make music. This song is called 3-Piece Suit. It'll be 15 years come Tuesday, and I can still see it. His 3-piece suit and the tin-foil wrap on the casserole dish he'd eaten. When my show was on, I was focused, and I can still breathe it. The first 3 notes of the best damn theme song anybody's ever written. 15 years compared to a lifetime is really next to nothing. And when compared to eternity is less than I can imagine. It doesn't matter how bad you want it, or how clearly you can see it, or how passionately you sing it. He's not coming back, and he never even thinks about you. Well, sometimes I go to Salvation Army and just look around at the pots and pans, the coffee makers, the porcelain dolls, and the clothing. And sometimes I pick up a couple of records or a VHS tape and bring 'em on home and stack 'em on up in my alphabetized collection. And the last time that I went there, wasn't looking for nothing, was just walking around, talking on my phone and casually browsing. And I seen this vintage 3-piece suit there. It was missing a button, but other than that, it was reasonably priced and appeared to be in good condition. I bought it for $15 even, and brought it on home. And now I'm standing here alone, all dressed up for no special occasion. It doesn't matter how bad you want it, or how clearly you can see it, or how passionately you sing it. He's not coming back, and he never even thinks about you. It doesn't matter how bad you want it, or how clearly you can see it, or how passionately you sing it. He's not coming back, and he never even thinks about you. This next song I'm going to play, I don't have a name for yet. Just wrote it just the day before I came down here to Fairfield, and just thought I'd give it a shot for you here now. I'll meet you on the other side of the bridge. I'll meet you on the other side of the bridge. And until then I have a vision of you and me just fishing like we did when we were children. I'll meet you on the other side of the bars. I'll see you on the other side of the bars. And until then I have a question. Am I the one in prison, or did I stay back with the women? I'm just no good at distinctions. I'll be waiting on the other side of disease. I'll be waiting on the other side of disease. And when you arrive, you can tell me the reason that everybody keeps believing that there's meaning left in living. I'll find you on the other side of the grave. I'll find you on the other side of the grave. And we'll be totally disembodied. We will be so much less than something. We will be absolutely nothing. I'm just no good at distinctions. I'm just no good at definitions. I'm just no good at that description. I'm just no good at making speeches. So among my biggest influences are artists that I know personally, and I've just been honored to be surrounded by a community of artists who really inspire me and who I'm really proud to be friends with and who inspire me a lot with their talent. One of my favorite artists is a songwriter from Des Moines who goes by Lesbian Poetry, and I'm going to play a song by him. He is my roommate, he's a good friend of mine, and we've covered each other's songs a lot. I feel a lot of affinity with him as an artist, so this goes out to Lesbian Poetry. He's the one who wrote this song. It's called Trolleys and Limousines. You can live your life based on your dreams, or you can live your life based on how life seems. You can take a trolley, or you can take a limousine. Each time the sun comes up, the stars fall to the ground. You sit and drink from your cup, but you don't make a sound. You don't raise your voice in fear of falling down. Don't forget what I told you, don't forget what I said. Don't forget what I told you, don't forget what I said. Your life ain't nothing but what's in your head. You better get it out now, or you'd be better. You'd be better off dead. Homer made me weep, Hugo made me cry. Faulkner made me sleep, Fitzgerald made me die. The Quran made you angry, and the Bible just made you shy. So let me tell you the truth, and let me tell you lies. Let me tell you how, let me tell you why. Let me take you to Hades, and let me take you to the sky. Don't forget what the good book said. Don't forget a single word you read. Don't forget about the truth until you lie in your deathbed. And don't forget why you're living until you are dead. You wanna go, but you won't leave. And you wanna know, but you won't believe. You wanna go, but you won't leave. And you wanna know, but you won't believe. You wanna go, but you won't leave. And you wanna know, but you won't believe. You can live your life based on your dreams, or you can live your life based on how life seems. You can take a trolley, or you can take a limousine. So that song is by my good friend Lesbian Poetry. So I thought I would sing just two more songs. I want to say thanks again to Mike for having me on his program, and thanks to Fairfield Public Access Television. Public Access Television is just a great service to every community where it exists and where it thrives. So Fairfield, support your public radio, support your public television, support all of your public media entities. This song is on a new album that my band Mumfords is coming out with in October. By the time I get there tomorrow, I hope you have $20 I can borrow. Did you already speak to your mother? Does she know I'm gonna stay for the summer? Does she know I don't belong to a yacht club? Does she know that we had sex in a hot tub? Does she know I don't believe in the Bible? I'm not gonna go to some tent revival. Darling, can I live with your family? Darling, can I stay with your family for a while? And by the time I arrive with my suitcase, I think we're all gonna know what to do next. I'll just put my sleeping bag in the basement. I'm not trying to be your older brother's replacement. I just can't afford my own place now. Yeah, I got a job, just doesn't pay well. But I expect that by the 1st of September, I'll be so long gone, you won't even remember it, darling. I wanna own my own house someday. Darling, I wanna run my own business someday. And by the time I shake your dad's hand, he's gonna see that I've turned into a grown man. He's gonna pour his finest red into a wine glass. I think he's gonna be impressed with my mustache. Hey, Mom, can I call you Mom? I gotta tell you, Mom, I think you got me all wrong. I love this little lady who's sitting here beside me. You raised a good daughter and a whole happy family. I want to thank you for inviting me to dinner. Tasted so good, I almost wished I could live here. That reminds me, is it cool if I live here? Not forever, not even for a whole year, not even for a full 6 months. I can probably be gone by like August 21st. And if you show me the kindness of a neighbor, maybe I'll accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. Okay, if you want, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it right now. Jesus, come and save me, come and wash me in the blood now. I'm a sinner, I've used your name in vain. I shoplifted from a gas station when I was like 13. I've spread rumors about people. I've been a drunken fool. I bought a case of beer for some kids at the high school. Hey, Dad, can I call you Dad? Dad, put your hands on my poor sinning head. Tell me I'm forgiven. Drench me in water. I'm sorry that I had sex with your daughter. I promise till we're married it won't happen again. I'll sleep on the couch and she'll sleep on the bed. I'll study my Bible every morning and night. Temptations will come, but I'll be ready to fight them. I want to thank you all for giving me some help now. I think we all could use a hug now. Family, can I call you my family? Family, am I part of your family now? Family, can I call you my family? Family, am I part of your family right now? And thank you, Fairfield, for letting me be a part of your family, incorporating me into your town, showing me such a wonderful side of your community every time that I've ever been here, being a place where so many of my friends live and so many of the artists that I respect most in the world live. thank you so much for the opportunity to live here in your community and for the respect that you have shown me. I return that respect to you, and we are going to build a culture of respect and love for the good of Iowa. We're doing it together. We love our state. We love our home. That's why I'm here right now. That's why you're listening right now. Let's do this. Let's do this, Iowa. Let's take it to the next level. This song is about taking it to the next level. This is the last song that I'm going to play. Be sure to tune in every week to this great show. Thanks again, Mike, for having me here. Fairfield 2.0. I love it. When I ate my meals, it never occurred to me that the more I ate, the better I would be to eat. But though I never knew until I went to the woods, it was always true. I was always food. I have always been food. I hadn't been long in the woods before I saw the perfect tree. Its lowest branch was only 10 inches taller than me. When I ate my meals, it never occurred to me that the more I ate, the harder I would fall from the tree. But though I never knew until I went to the woods, it was always true. I was always food. I have always been food. See my eyes rolled back. See my jaw hang limp. See my legs dangling down. See the cord around my neck. When I ate my meals, it never occurred to me that the more I ate, the harder I would fall from the tree. But though I never knew until I went to the woods, it was always too late. I was always dead weight. I have always been dead weight. First came the flies, then came the crows, and in the spring my branch fell down, and then I met the wolves. Then the maggots came, and I sank further down, and then my body moved through worms, and I became the ground. And though I never knew until I went to the woods, it was always true. I am food. I am food. I am food. I am food. Thanks again to Fairfield Public Access Television. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to the great staff here at the Fairfield 2.0 television program. And thanks to Fairfield for having me here in your great town for the month of June.